the world's #1 podcasting platform for African stories. Back with our second conversation of the day as we celebrate International Podcast Day. And we will be talking about the importance of using local languages in podcasting. Welcome, everyone. Let us invite Maggie to join us. Hey, Maggie.
Hi, Tony.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm liking your vibe with the trees and everything.
I know, right?
I like it so much fun.
What is nature today, I tell you.
Yeah, that's the only way to do it.
Yes.
Thank you so much for making the time for us to have this conversation. You are the executive producer for Shagz Chronicles. Do you want to tell us a little bit about Shagz Chronicles, what it is about, and yeah?
Yeah, sure, Kadoni. Shagz Chronicles. This is those things you call passion projects.
Uh-huh.
This is one of those. It was a passion project between myself and the two podcasters.
Okay.
We just said, you know what? Like for instance, my husband doesn't understand Kikuyu. He hears it, but he can't speak it. We're like, we can cater for people like you and our children as well, So let's put it out there. Let's make a podcast in Kikuyu.
It's important.
Yes, the audience is there. It's just a matter of what are you putting out there?
Yeah, that's. I am like your husband. I hear the Kikuyu, but when it reaches here, it refuses.
It refuses.
I can think it. I can't speak it.
That's why we have Shagz Chronicles. I'm sure you've learned a thing or two by now about through us.
Actually, the person who's learned the most, I have a colleague called Angela who absolutely loves your podcast. She talks about it every day, and she's like, we were talking about pumpkins today. Do you know what pumpkin is called in Kikuyu? I'm like, girl, go off. So what you had planned to do, you are actually doing. I am here to confirm. I know a couple of people who are friends who are like, you're doing the right thing for us and our children.
That's good to hear. That's such great feedback, and we look forward to do so much more. It's all coming, eh?
It is for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I wanted to find out from you because you've chosen to do your podcast fully in Kikuyu. Why do you think it is important to have podcasts in a language like now in Kikuyu? If someone wants to start it in Luo, Kalenjin, or whatever it is, if it's in South Africa, in Costa, whatever it is, why do you think it's important for us to use our local languages like vernacular to speak or have podcasts?
Ideally, it's because our languages are going extinct. Yeah, that is the harsh truth. Our languages are going extinct. So the best we can do is put what we know out there, for guys to just grasp what they can. Because like right now, for sure, most of our children don't know Kikuyu.
True.
They'll have to do it as a lesson.
You're right.
For them to know Kikuyu. As we were back in the 90s, we were favored, but we grew up in Shagz. Hence Shagz Chronicles. We grew up in Shagz. And we got to interact with our cousins who mostly are the ones who taught us that Kikuyu. You see, the thing is, one of the podcasters also went to school in Nairobi, but lived in Shagz, but was going to school in Nairobi.
Right.
So it's a sort of, you speak your English in school.
When you come home.
When you come home, leave it there in school. Come, adopt.
Switch quickly.
Yeah, and that's how we got to learn. But you see, now our kids will not have that opportunity. Not many of them anyway, because even now, when I go to Shagz to visit my relatives, even their kids are speaking English.
That's true.
It's no longer because in Shagz, you'll grasp it. Akuna, it's changed. It's like that. Everybody's speaking English, Kiswahili, or Spanish, or So our native languages are in trouble. They're going to be extinct sooner rather than later.
Right. That's important. And I think also looking at it as we should be able to take up the space to teach in the same way, our children learn French, learn Spanish, learn everything.
Yes.
So teach our languages in the same way so that even if, like for me, my child might not learn from me, but as they have my parents, but I can send them to Shagz Chronicles to learn as well, or somewhere else they get educated on. So do you think there's a space based on like working with Shagz Chronicles? Do you think there's a space and an audience for podcasts in vernacular?
Oh, yes. Oh, it is such a huge space, my dear. Thanks to social media, thanks to technology, there's so much, You write the DMs you get, guys are like, oh my God, okay. So that means, they're learning and we are able to also interact with guys and tell, yeah, that's what that means. And also even spread it out because we are all over. You see, we're on IG, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on YouTube, we're everywhere. Thanks to technology, we're able to do all that. You see, we're able to spread it as far as possible. And for those who already like are in the spaces, they're enjoying what we're doing. And then those who find us along the way, they're like, oh, this is what you guys are doing. Kikuyu can be fun like this. Okay. Let me join the bandwagon as well. You see, so, ideally, there's so much space. There's a lot of potential there.
Okay, so how do you make sure that the content created communicates what it is you want? So like for you, you're like, we want to educate, but we also want to make it fun. We want to let people know our experiences. So how do you ensure that is communicated in how you podcast?
Ideally, what we do, we do several things on our pages. I'm sure you've seen. There are days where it's a regular post. Our post has an explainer. So you don't have to be Kikuyu to come to our page. We are ensuring that everybody can read. You can read in the explainer, and then we're communicating what you want to communicate. But now for the podcast, on the other hand, that's now a bit exclusive in the sense that it's Kikuyu. There's not much you can do there, Just if, those guys who are diehard fans, they're there, they'll enjoy the content. Because let me tell you, when you translate something out of the original language, things get lost.
It was exciting.
So with the podcast, we do what we can do. There's no way around that one. However, you see, with the posts, we're able to do explainers that it's for everybody, And then we ensure that there's once we did this audio where we were helping guys to pronounce, and we're looking forward to do more of those to pronounce. To help guys understand, okay, pronounce this like this. And also even in writing, we also teach a lot of writing. This is how it's quite critical, I tell you, it's quite critical. So all these diverse ways we're trying to put our content out there to ensure the message is not only passed across, but you also understand, you're not just consuming, you're also understanding what you're consuming.
That's important. I think it's also important if you're teaching pronunciations and all of that. That also goes into what my next question was going to be is, do you think podcasting in vernacular is a form of exclusion? And what I'm hearing you say is when you're teaching pronunciation, that opens it up. But are there what would you tell someone who says, why are you podcasting in this? And what happens to the audience you're leaving out?
So what we do as Shagz Chronicles, it's not an exclusion thing per se. Mm-hmm. It's ideally, as we're preserving culture the way we know how, right? This is my way of preserving my culture. Mm-hmm. It's not an exclusion. So there's a way you do for your culture. There's a way I do for my culture. So there's nothing for exclusion per se. It really is how you uphold it. And this is our way of doing it. And we've gone such a long way in ensuring that we include guys. We have explainers. On our posts, they all have explainers. What something means. If that is not inclusion, I don't know what is.
You're right.
Yeah.
That's true. What would you tell someone who has been thinking about starting a podcast in their vernacular, but they're worried about all this exclusion? Like, what steps should they take in order to ensure they're not diluting their message just to make people happy and then be inclusive, but at the same time using it as an opportunity to preserve their culture.
So what I tell them, start off the way you start off. Go with your gut feeling. Along the way, you will learn one or two things, and you learn how to shape your podcast. Because you're afraid to start because you don't know how to start. Go with your gut feeling, what it's telling you to do. And ufanye hivyo. Exactly that. Then along the way, you will find yourself shaping it so well. You'll be like, oh, okay. So if I do, it's not deleting my content or anything I want to share that. No, you're good to go. So it's a matter of actually start and then grow from there.
That's interesting. It's interesting that you're also, I did the panel with Janet and Joanne earlier, and you've also mentioned something they said where it's just start where you are. And I feel like a lot of people feel like I need to perfect the art before I start it. I need to figure out what does sound like, what does this look like. But the message that I've had all of you say who are already podcasters is just start and figure it out as you go, because you can't learn if you're not yet in the game. You actually have to get into the game and then now continue what it is you're doing there.
Yes, precisely. Because at the end of the day, you'll overthink. Like, if I do this way, it's like, you don't, if you overthink, you'll never be able to start. That's the thing. We're only humans. That's what we do. We deny ourselves that way. So just start. It will come to you. I promise you, it will come to you. As long as the passion is there, it will come to you for sure.
That's cool. So what has been your favorite episode of Shagz Chronicles so far? Do you have a favorite? I know it's like asking a mother her favorite child. We all know our parents have favorites. So do you have a favorite episode?
Unless me personally.
You personally. You're speaking for yourself, not on behalf of the team.
Wow, okay. I have this one for magic. Ushaokotwa chini ukicheka, you don't understand how someone can go through such things in a day.
Yeah.
Mimi magic, because hiyo siku haiko inaeleweka. Listen to it and I'm like, wait, what? Nilipitia vitu zote in a day. Kind of situation. Yeah. And also when they had the fans edition was awesome. People have stories. The fans edition was really, really amazing. You really had I enjoyed actually all of those. I enjoyed myself.
Okay, so if someone's looking for your podcast, you tell them start with magic and then go to the one for the fans, and then they'll be in the vibe to be able to continue.
But funny enough, even if you start with Chapo, wherever you start,
it's fine.
Just you'll be good.
Oh, okay. That is so great. I wanted you to talk a bit also about like the hosts of the podcast, and how do you figure out gelling people when it comes to what vernacular is as an executive producer? How do you go about this is what we should do? What does that look like from that space in podcasting?
So ideally we have regular meetings where we say, okay, it's time we did ABCD part. So we have to plan it out. Maybe I'm a planner. I have to plan it out. You have to tell me that. So we plan it out. We say, you know what, this is what we need to put out right now. Okay, and from that perspective, who are we looking at exactly? Who are we looking for to come be a guest? And what are we looking to tell guys? Let me tell you the funniest, the most interesting thing. When people come to podcast, they're normally like, like, I don't know what story to tell you.
Yeah.
Then you tell them, you've not met the podcasters. You meet them.
Don't worry about
where the stories come from. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
You don't know where the stories just start popping, and you just want to talk. You just, you're like, I did not know I can tell a story that way. You surprise yourself. So ideally, yes, we just there's a bit of preparation to it. Want to understand what we were looking for in a particular season. After now, we narrow down the people we'd like to work with, and then we get in touch with them. We see what they think. If they're game, like, Kuja, let's do this.
That sounds like a lot of fun. So you say planning is important, and
Yes.
when it comes to finding your audience for the local languages, what spaces do you go to? I know you've said social media, but how does that actually help you get people to your platform or to your podcast?
So what we've noticed with our audience, mtu akipenda kitu anashare, kama ni fun anashare. So we've grown a lot with that. Yes, occasionally we do boost our posts as well. But nile audience finding, nile amepata, acha niambie best yangu. Best yangu, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend.
Tell a friend.
Yes, tell a friend. That is how, because today the guys who were finding us, they're like, I don't know Kikuyu, but let me tell you, this is your podcast. I thank God for it. This your page is the one. You know?
Yeah, they're talking to their parents and they're like, where did you learn that?
So, because you were pre-game before they go to Shagz. Yeah, they pre-gaming.
You're like 2 shots. You're the 2 shots of Kikuyu before they go on.
Exactly. we really are. But yeah, ideally, it's been like that. That's how we've grown our audiences, with guys knowing about us. We've had celebrity friends who also follow us, and they tell their friends, they post us as well. So it's just been that community kind of thing that has moved us from where we are to where we're going. So yeah, it's like that.
Perfect. So the other question I wanted to ask you is, if someone decides, okay, I've decided I'm doing the local language, is there a specific place I could record? Does it matter if the people who are doing, like, for I know as executive producer, you understand what it is that's happening. But if I wanted to record, let's say, a podcast in Luo, or I know someone who wants to, do you think that we need to have everyone in a circle understanding it? Or how would you go about that level of, if I know people who, like, we work at AfriPods and we think it's important. We have more than 50 languages on the platform, local languages, and we've been trying to tell people it's important for you to speak in your local language. But how would you suggest, I guess, because you're doing it, that we go about telling people this is something that's important, this is something that has an audience, this is something you should be doing? What would your advice to people like us who are in the space be to encourage people to come in using their vernacular and tell their stories in that space?
So ideally, just like the way Aska started, it wasn't a passion for one person. Firstly, get people who understand what you want to do. Actually, that becomes your core team, right? That you have to have your core team. As long as they understand what you want to do and they've bought into it, Kabisa, they will find the time. All of us do different things. This is passion project, remember. But we find the time to come together and release this content at the end of the day. We make time for it. So just get people who understand, 3-4 people who understand what you want to do. And imagine ingia kwa studio na mwanze. Then over time, you'll find other people who are interested to contribute to what you're doing. Watu hupatana tu. Just be in the space in itself to begin with, so that you will attract the people you're looking for. It does happen. We've seen it happen. So actually, yeah. So
get in the space, start now, and the people and everything that needs to happen will come to you.
It will come to you. It really will.
Okay, that's cool. So, thank you so much for your time. I want to give you this opportunity to plug Shagz Chronicles, anything you want people to know about Shagz Chronicles. Where can we find you? Where do we listen? Let the people know.
Okay, cool. So we are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. AfriPods, sorry about that. And on AfriPods as well. So we are Shagz Chronicles across board, actually. Sicily Shagz Chronicles. Listen to our podcast, the older ones. New ones are coming. Yes, guys, we're planning for you. Don't worry. The wait is almost over, I promise. So more to come. But yeah, ideally, we're always there. Please continue DMing us. We don't mind. We're happy to answer your questions. We're happy to teach. we're here for it. We are here for it all. Yeah, and thank you so much for having us.
Of course. Are you accepting ideas as well on topics that we want covered on Shagz Chronicles?
Of course. Yes. Nothing is limited. Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys. You've heard here, Maggie said if you have an idea of what they should do, you can write to them. Listen to Shagz Chronicles. She told us her 2 favorite episodes. Magic is where she said you can start. If you want to laugh, if you're having a bad day, start there. But any episode, it's available anywhere you can find podcasts, as well as on YouTube and, of course, on AfriPods. Again, we want to thank you, Maggie, so much for making the time to speak to us. I think it's very important for Africans to tell our stories in our language, not only to save our culture or to conserve it, but also because there's a lot of people who want to hear these stories, and being able to access them is important. Again, Kofisi, we want to thank you for giving us the space for our lives today. And yeah, guys, keep it here. We have amazing things coming up. So don't go anywhere. The next one will start in a few minutes. We'll be back at noon. So everyone, thank you for being here. Thank you for everyone joining the live. Maggie, we appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it as well.
Yeah, cool. Have a good day.
All right, you too. Bye.